Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to show you how to install CarPlay in a 2013 L405 Vogue. This will work in all the L405 Vogues with the Bosch menu system. That is, it looks like this. On here, so you get full CarPlay integration, sat-nav, music, phone, all of that good stuff, whilst you retain all of your factory features other than the factory nav. It's the only thing you lose. You still get your 4x4 modes, you still get your TV, dual screen still works. So on this side you look TV, from the driver's side you get your CarPlay and your sat nav. So you keep all of that, and I'm going to show you now how you install it. Okay, the first step is remove the piece of trim. It just pulls off. You very gently just grab each corner, pull the clips off. It will just come away. It's easy with two hands. A little bit of wiggling. That just comes off like so. Then you've got this metal fascia that comes off. There's 4 screws that are holding that on. Just want to quickly undo them. It's all T20 bolts on this, so all you need is one T20 screwdriver. And you take them all out. Alright, so those 4 screws undone. This fascia then just slides out. Next, you want to take these side buttons off. There's a screw there on each one, either side. You're going to undo those 4 and pop them out of your way. There's 4 more screws removed. These then just come off like so. You just place them down here. Just neatly out of the way. Don't need to unplug them. Then you've got 4 screws holding the screen in. Quickly undo them so they're off. Leave the screen in for now. Don't need to pull it out yet though. Okay. Another 4 screws removed. Next step, we're just going to remove these side trims either side of the heat control panel. They literally just come off with very little pressure. Just be gentle and they'll come off really nicely. That then gives us this. You then want to just very gently pull off the heat control panel fascia. That comes off like so. Got another 4 screws to undo. That brings this off, which I'll show you in just a second. So that's another 4 screws out. This then just gently comes off like so. Just unplug this and take it out of the way. Easier. Screens come loose, but that'll stay there. Right, next thing we'll do is take these 2 screws out of the head unit, just so you can pull it forward and access the harnessing at the back. Okay, so with those 2 screws removed, we can now pull the head unit forward out of the car, just to let us access the harnessing behind it. Okay, now we've got the car in this state, we're going to go to the bench and have a look at the box. Okay, so here's the box that you'll get in your kit. Everything comes unplugged. I've just plugged it all in now because it's easy to quickly show you. There's 4 connections you need to make in the box before we go back to the car. Firstly, you've got your USB harness. That just goes into the one labelled USB/video. You've then got the main piggyback harness. This plugs into the screen and into the head unit. That just comes down and plugs into CAN, as you can see there. You've then got an LVDS cable. That goes into the back of the screen in a second. That's just got the splitter on it, and that goes into LVDS. You've got your Wi-Fi antenna. That just plugs into RF cable. Once you've got that, it should look like that. It looks a bit daunting, but take it nice and slow, plug or plug. It's very simple to put in, which I'll now show you. Okay, so we're back in the car. I've got spaghetti junction on my lap for now. First thing I'm going to do is take the main piggyback harness, like so, and I'm going to take the 2 big connectors. I'm going to come to the back of the head unit on the car. I'm going to unplug this cable right here. It's the second one in. That just comes out nice and easy, like so. I'm then going to take the male on the new harness. That's going to plug into the head unit. Just like that. Should be a little click just as it clicks in. And then you've got the old one that used to go into the head unit is now going to go into this female part of the harness. It's a bit easier with 2 hands. But there we go. And then that's that. That's everything you need to plug into the back of the head unit. You can now just slide that back in there. You won't screw it on just yet, just in case. But for now, that can stay like that. Next step is we'll take out the screen. I recommend you put a microfiber down. Just stops you scratching anything when you're in the back of here. Like so. Then in here, we're going to take the other part of that main piggyback harness That's these two smaller plugs. We're going to undo this from the screen, that comes out of the way. We take the male on the new harness, that goes into the screen, and again the one that used to go into the harness goes into the female end of the new harness. So it's basically just, so that's what would have gone into there, but instead we just put the new harness in the way like so, and that just comes back to the main box. Next step will be the LVDS cable in the back of the screen. So we'll take our two coming out of the box. We're going to unplug this blue connector here, and exactly the same thing we've just done with the other two. The male end from the box goes into the screen like so, and then the one that used to go into the screen we put into the female end coming from the new harness. So that's it, that's everything plugged in. So now we can quickly test it just to make sure it's working properly before we go to the effort of putting everything back together. So at first you may get your normal sat-nav screen, but don't panic, that's when we change the dip switches, and then that will bring it up. So we'll now ignition off. Before you change your dip switches, you want to unplug the unit so it's not powered up. Change the dip switches like here by, you bring certain ones of these down. There's a few different combinations, they'll all be included in the instructions. You can try the different ones until you get one that works properly, which I shall show you in a second. Okay, so if you first start up, you should get this screen come up. Might take a few different tries on dip switches to get to this. So these are the configuration I went for in the end. It's 1, 2 and 5 on. There are some different combinations. We'll include all of these in the instructions we send to you in the written version. You just keep trying some different options, and then you get it. You might get an overlay, you might see some of your original sat-nav screen behind the main menu of the box, but you just keep trying a couple of different options, you will get there in the end, and then you'll be met with this screen. So for the initial startup you'll get this. You then need to plug your phone in with the cable, with the USB coming out of the box. Once you do that, it will then automatically connect like mine just has, and you'll get your CarPlay functionality. So now at this point we can put everything back together, tuck it all back nicely behind the screen. There's a bit of room in there, it's not too bad. Screw everything back together, put all the trims back on, and that's it, your install's complete. I'll show you when I get it all back together. So that's my 4 screen screws back in. Next we can put the head unit back in its place. Requires a little bit of wiggling and 2 hands, so I'll come back in a second. Right, that's the head unit screwed back in, 2 screws in there. I've routed my USB out the back and down. You can hide it because it will connect wirelessly. I like to keep this accessible, and just down here means I can plug in to charge my phone if I still want to. Gives you an extra USB in the car, or if it does have any troubles connecting, which is very rare, but does sometimes happen, or for updates, you can just easily plug into it hardwired if you have any problems with your phone or the system when it comes to the wireless connection. So next, it's a case of putting heat controls back in, plugging them back in, and then putting the screws in on them. It's easy to 2 hands, so I'll come back to you in a second. As the heat controls back on, this cover can now go back over these. Now you can pop your main menu buttons either side of the screen. You can just pop back on like that, and like that, and 2 screws in each of them. Then we can pop these side trims back on. I have my USB just hanging out here, keeps it accessible and out of the way. You can route it another way if you want. You can go through the glove box, you can hide it completely. It's entirely up to you on that one. It's pretty resilient, it'll take a little bit of squash. Put that one back on. Then we've got this one goes back on here like this. Got 4 screws go back in there, and then the main piece back over the top. Alright, so it's all back together. Just a couple of little changes you want to make just so it all runs smoothly. Firstly, you want to change your audio output to auxiliary. You also may want to go to set up screen timeout to home menu and turn it off. Otherwise, when you're on CarPlay, it will take 10-20 seconds and it will bring you back to the main menu. I think there's options you can change for timeout. If you turn it off, that will leave your CarPlay screen on for as long as you want. You can have your sat nav, have your music, all comes through the car. You still get your calls going through the factory, microphone, speakers, and it just really brings the car up to date having CarPlay. So yeah, any questions, let us know.